Thank you for joining in.
Thank you for everyone joining in. We have some really interesting words today. And to introduce Shaludi, she is a counseling psychologist from Mind Your Mind. And today is the fifth day of the mental health series A to Z. Today we have letter E with us, like I had already told everyone. So before starting, Shaludi, can you please quickly tell everyone why are we doing this series?
Yes, so it is very important to know why we are doing this show, and we'll be doing this straight for 26 days as English alphabet, 26 alphabets are there. So it's already our fifth day today, and letter E is on the way. And it is very important, and me and Priyansi understood that we should let people know some words that should be used carefully and not casually. So we've brought some new words here to make you understand that they have deeper meaning than some superficial meaning. So please use them with caution. And this is just to give an insight about those words, how these words, what these words specially mean.
Yes, so we have picked up words from the Oxford Dictionary of Psychology by Andrew Coleman, who is a winner of American Library Association Award for Outstanding Reference Source. So to keep certain kind of authenticity, we are using these words from a dictionary. Okay, so maybe we can quickly hop on to the words. So the first letter with E, so the first word with letter E is.
Okay, so it is eudaimonic well-being. I hope someone has definitely heard this word because it's so common being used these days as eudaimonic happiness and hedonic happiness. So eudaimonic happiness talks about, first I'll read from the dictionary, then we'll exchange few words about it. You can express your word and I can express my example so that people can understand. Okay. So I'll read from the dictionary itself. So eudaimonic well-being is a term of well-being in form of personal growth, environment mastery, purpose in life, autonomy. Means eudaimonic talks about long-term happiness. It doesn't talk of short-term goals, but long-term happiness. There's an opposite word for eudaimonic happiness, that is hedonic happiness. That is for short-term goals. Like you are feeling sad right now, you want to eat a chocolate. So that's hedonic. I'm just giving an example. And if you want to feel happy, you go for meditation, yoga, then that's eudaimonic happiness. So that's a long-term goal that we are taking in. We say eudaimonic is good, not hedonic. Hedonic is bad or good. Eudaimonic is good. No, both are good. Both are equally important because short-term goal happiness is very important to keep you going, and long-term goals keep you purpose of life fulfilled. What do you say, Priyansi?
Yes, I completely agree with you. So basically, we usually focus on the short-term happiness, that is hedonic. We usually ignore eudaimonic, that because it is long-term. We want everything in the moment. So we usually tend to ignore eudaimonic. So I completely agree with you. Eudaimonic and hedonic both are equally important for everyone. But be mindful of the fact that when eudaimonic is important and when hedonic is important. So yeah.
Yeah, so with age also, when we are young, hedonic happiness matters. But when we grow a little older, eudaimonic automatically take charge, and it's very good. Because if you're old enough and you have already had everything in life, then going for hedonic happiness, that purpose of life is not fulfilled at that place. So with aging, with all the virtues now and understanding for life has happened, automatically persons seek for eudaimonic happiness at that stage of life. So this is age relevant also.
Yeah.
Okay,
So as you grow up, you switch on more to the eudaimonic happiness, right?
yes, and that's good for a person. Yeah. Next word for Priyansi.
Yes. So today's next word is empathy. I really love this word. So empathy is, according to the dictionary, the capacity to understand and enter into another person's feelings and emotions or to experience something from the other person's point of view. So basically, empathy says that stepping into somebody else's shoes and then experiencing what the other person is actually going through in his or her life. Then people usually confuse empathy with sympathy. So I will just talk about the difference between the two. Sympathy is basically when you do something for someone out of pity, okay? Or in Hindi we say daya bhav, okay? So that is I'm doing something for somebody out of pity. Whereas empathy is where I'm actually feeling in my body that what the other person is going through. Okay, so it is always uh, suggested to be empathetic rather than sympathetic. Then, like we can understand this with an example. Like, suppose a beggar comes to me that, I'm trying to earn money and can you buy this pen? Okay, he's trying, can you buy this pen? So what I do is like, oh, he's a 10-year-old kid selling pens. Let's give him 10 rupees and buy these pens. What I'm doing, I'm showing sympathy towards that person. Okay, but if I actually put myself in that child's shoes, that if I would have been at his or her place, how would I have felt? That is called being empathetic. So, all the viewers, please check yourself if you're being empathetic or sympathetic and let us know in the comment section that are you being empathetic or sympathetic to others. If sympathetic, please start being empathetic to others. Okay, let us know in the comment section. What do you think, Shalvi?
I think people normally use these days it's a fashion not using sympathy but empathy. People don't know exactly what is empathy. They have just switched this new word from sympathy to empathy. But sympathy is exactly, yes, you said it's pity. It's out of pity. You don't feel that person's feeling, but you're just helping that person. Like for an example, if somebody in the family, in the friends or somebody, person dies, you just send a pity note or a condolence note that, okay, I'm so sorry about your loved one's death and all. And
That's like the
that's sympathy.
formality we do. Yeah.
That's a formality that you do. But empathy is like you feel that grief of that person. You don't have to talk to her, but you can feel that feeling. You can imagine empathy when you grow up and you feel like your mother would have gone through. When we grow up, that time we don't feel mother's pain when we are growing up. But when we are grown up, when we see our mother again and when we become mother, then we can have that same feeling how our mother felt at that time. So that is empathy.
Yes. So all those who had shared their views, thank you for sharing. I hope all those who are giving sympathy, you surely turn to empathy. First step is awareness. So you are aware that you're being sympathetic and not empathetic. So congratulations for that. You can always move towards empathy. Yeah. Okay,
And
Shalini. So
you
what's
know,
the yeah.
yeah, and it is very important. A counselor, counselors, it's the biggest jewel of a counselor to be empathic. If the counselor is not empathic, then that is not a counselor at all. So a counselor's biggest achievement is to be empathic. Only then that person can counsel person. Otherwise, it's so superficial, it won't help the client at all.
Right. And
You
just not
agree?
the counselor, but yeah, I agree. Just not the counselor, even in general life, also with friends and family, it's always suggested to be empathetic and not sympathetic. Yeah. Okay, so what the third word is.
Third word is again a concept in psychology. Few people are aware of this concept. Few people have gone through this concept, but they don't know about it. So we'll just discuss a small bit of it. It is the Electra complex and the Oedipus complex. It is, yeah, that is very important in psychology. This concept goes, and I'll just give you the dictionary meaning of it first. It is the love for one parent and it's a child's love for one parent and simultaneously hatred for the another parent or as rival. So there are two names. I said Electra complex and Oedipus complex. So Oedipus complex is boy's attraction towards mother and rivalry towards father. And Electra complex is other way around. It is girls' attraction towards father and sense of rivalry towards mother. So you have maybe parents have noticed this, that the girls get attracted to father. Most of the time they are father's child. The girls are father's child and the boys are mother's son, you know. People talk about this most often. But this is a healthy relationship, but this can get into a non-healthy relationship also. So this complex talks about the non-healthy relationship among the child and the parent. What do you want to say, Priyansi?
Yes. So I completely agree with you, Dee, what you said. So this is usually, Oedipus and Electra complex is usually seen in children from 3 to 7 years of age. If these children are not given proper attention, it happens with everyone, with me, with you, with everyone it happens. But if proper attention is not given to the child between the 3 to 7 years of age, then the child might not completely develop through this stage, which is called as the phallic stage. So they might not completely develop. And when they grow old, become an adolescent or an adult, these may hamper their relationships at that point of time. So this is very important to completely come out of this development stage of Electra and Oedipus complex. Yes.
Yeah. So such children who have problem during this stage can develop problems in the relationship when they grow old. They can have relationship problem with everyone, maybe a marital relationship or other relationship around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
next word from Priyansi. That's a
I hope that was new for everyone who is here, Electra complex.
actually
And I'm
the I think the concept is new. The words are new, but
towards them.
most of the parents they have experienced this.
Yeah.
I know so many of my friends, they've experienced this, that yes, the daughter loves father more than the mother.
Yeah.
So this is very common in the families.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for saying it was new. I hope it helped. Okay, so the last word quickly for today is my favorite word. It's emotional intelligence. So the dictionary says ability to monitor one's own and other people's emotions. It was first formally defined by US psychologists Peter Salovey and John D. Mayer. Emotional quotient is the index for emotional intelligence. Just like emotional quotient is an index for intelligence, in the same way we have emotional intelligence. When I talk about emotional intelligence, this is something understanding our own behavior and others as well. Emotional intelligence is given more importance than intelligence because this is the time we need more emotional intelligence in everyone around us. Okay, so usually intelligence is given more importance. Okay, that how much marks are you scoring? Did you get your new promotion? What are you doing in your life? We always surround ourselves with intelligence, but we fail to talk about the emotions that we are going through. Okay, so it is very important to understand our own emotions and the emotions of others as well. So we can understand this with an example. Like suppose there's a child or a person who wants to score good in his exams or wants to present a PPT. Okay, now he or she is quite intelligent, but is not able to handle self emotions like anger, fear of failure, or I will succeed or not, or anxiety, constant mood swings that you are having. If you're not able to manage that, how will you make that PPT? How will you study for your exams, right? So it is important to manage our emotions so that we can do better in our life. Okay, and this is actually emotional, is being worked a lot by the researchers, right? What do you think, Dee?
Yeah, I think emotional intelligence is important than being just intelligent, IQ intelligence, because you live in a society, and if you don't know how to manage your emotion, your interpersonal relationship just fall apart. And there are, the adaptability, because being social, it is very important to manage your emotion. If you have anger at the point of being angry, it's okay. If you want to be happy, you be happy at that moment. But if you don't be happy in the happiness moment and you don't be angry on the angry moment, then you have emotional intelligence problems. You
No.
cannot maintain your emotions properly. So that is very important to have that emotional intelligence in all of us, which is important. To just not being IQ important, IQ is not so important than being EQ. So I feel EQ being higher than IQ.
Right.
So don't people just rush after their marks and they just want their children to be IQ. You have good IQ. They should be intelligent enough, good scoring children, but they don't know how to maintain the relationship. They don't know how to move in the society. Those children cannot do anything good in their life because they don't know how to manage people. And ultimately, we are social. We have to know how to manage our emotions and with relationship with others also.
Right. So, we can understand, we can add one more example here is like there is a child or there is a person who is excelling in his or her professional life, but is not able to move in the personal life, not having healthy relationships with the parents or the siblings or friends or uh, partner. So that time we can say that the person has a low EQ but an high IQ. So it is important to have a high EQ as well, so that we can live happily within the self as well and with others as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something or shall we wrap up?
No, I think it was good enough.
Yeah. Right.
Well
So
explained, yeah.
yeah. So all those who are watching, let us know if you have a high EQ or high IQ, and we would love to know that. Till then, yes, thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you, Shaludi, for joining in. And tomorrow we'll be here at the same time with letter F, and we'll have some more words tomorrow for everyone. And I hope it is helping everyone. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dee.
Thank you so much, Priyansi. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Stay blessed, stay happy. Ciao.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.